What's in it for me? Is there enough value in a single person with no pets, no kids, to buy a house? Can it benefit me more than it can harm me? What are the benefits? This is my house here. That's my bedroom, my kitchen, my garage, my attic. And I like the simple life. And so from someone who's been a homeowner for 15 years to someone who has now lived on the road for 4 years with one bag of belongings, is there a strong enough argument to be made that it's worth it for me, there's enough in it for me to buy a piece of property again? Well, let's talk about it. The number one thing people think of when it comes to buying a piece of property, home, condo, whatever, is that appreciation of value, financially speaking. As an example, if I buy a piece of property today for $200,000, in 10 years it may be worth $300,000. Whatever the appreciation ratio, that is the number one thing that people think about when it comes to buying property. That rent is a waste of money and buying property is something that can make you money. And while there's a level of truth in that, there's also a level of deception. The number one thing that's deceiving is that even if your home goes up in value, you don't make a dime until you sell it. And if you never sell your property, you never made money, you just put money into it, you just rent it. And if you don't have any kids, if you're not going to leave nothing to them, what does it matter if you own? And even if your kids inherit the property, they'll probably just sell it. But the number one thing you need to understand when it comes to buying a house is even if it appreciates in value, you don't make a dime until you sell it. And in fact, if you buy a house today for $200,000 and in 10 years it goes up to $300,000, you don't make $100,000 profit. Not only do you have real estate transaction fees, whether you got a real estate agent, closing cost, all the legal documents, home inspections, etc. You also have to consider for 10 years you paid property taxes, you paid home insurance. I'm sure you're going to have to do some repairs within a course of 10 years. And you got the lawn maintenance or whatever. So over 10 years, you don't have a net $100,000 profit. And you'd be lucky, okay, if you had $50,000 net profit. Okay. Now, again, there's exceptions. But then again, if you sell it, where do you take that money? Where do you put it? So that's one thing that's tough for me to get around. Again, you put your own individual circumstance in this blank. But if you're buying property for the number one reason, which is so you're not just wasting money renting, you have to realize you don't make a dime till you sell it. You're going to pay in property taxes, home insurance, and there's transaction fees that don't just make it a windfall. It could be like a savings account, like, you're just putting this money in a house, but a house is a lot of work. And that's my number two is, well, right now I have no maintenance, no liability. The number one thing of being a renter is you have no maintenance, no liability. If the dryer goes bad, if the roof goes bad, if the AC goes bad, if the heater goes bad, it's on your landlord. When you own, it's on you. And so, is that a benefit? Well, the only benefit, okay, I'll try to think about the benefits here. The benefit would be you have control over your environment. If something goes wrong, even though it sucked, you get to figure out how you want to change it, if you want to change it. You don't have to deal with another person. You can design your house how you want, renovate it, take care of the lawn. As long as you're within the rules of that community and area, you control your house. No one else controls it. Now, I'm a nomad, so to me, I could float around campgrounds or stealth parking. And so, but here's another benefit. Safe, legal place to sleep at night, which is a benefit to me. It would be a benefit. The negative is during the day, I'd probably still want to be in Starbucks, still want to be at a gym, still want to be at a beach park. The positive is if there's an emergency in society, you have a place to go. The negative is if the emergency is natural disaster in your area, as an example, a hurricane, as an example, a wildfire, as an example, a tornado, if that's in your area, as an example, snowstorm, if that's in your area, you're not going to go anywhere. That's your house. You're going down with the ship. You're going down with the ship. That's part of owning a house. Look, the value, I guess, would be as you get older, you have a place to go. You say, well, if you have no mortgage, you should have a cost-effective place to live. Well, it depends on your property taxes and homeowners insurance, because those things never go away. They only go up. And look, owning property over a period of time, I would say more than 10 years or more, you're probably going to end up on the more positive than negative, probably, if you buy below your means, if you buy an area you want, if you buy not too big a house. But, you know, for someone like me is a little unique. It's not an easy sales pitch because there's, as I talk this out, the home appreciation, I'm not going to make any money until I sell it. You know, now the only thing with that is right now, after you pay off your debt and after you have a certain amount in savings, you know, and I'm talking about more than 25, more than 50 grand. Once you have a certain amount in savings, inflation is your enemy. A home is a hedge on inflation, but again, a home is not just appreciating. You're putting money into it. Home insurance, property tax. So you can't just look at your home like it's just flat net appreciating. And there's tied cost to it. But these are the things that you think about when you ask yourself, is it worth it? You know, if you run all the numbers and you look at your personal situation and your emotions, it could be worth it. I continue to look at different pieces of property to see if it could be worth it. But I also hope that through me talking this out, you see, it's not just a no-brainer. It's not just a no-brainer, especially, again, single person, no pets, no kids. Now, I would say my biggest risk is getting sick or hurt on the road. That's a huge risk, and that's where property is valued. You know, rather than scrambling for a hotel or Airbnb. So, and I don't like dealing with other people. I don't like living in other people's spaces. So the value is this home base, this hub, this safety net, per se. You know, the chances of you using it may be small, but something to think about. Ultimately, your financial solvency is key because that gives you a level of independence and options. A home limits your options because now you're committed to this, so you're not on the market. You're off the market. You bought the home, you took it off the market, you're off the market. You're committed. You can change, you can sell, you can do whatever, but there's a commitment there. So something to think about, is buying a house worth it? Now, first thing you always want to look at is, again, are you in a relationship? Are you married? Do you have kids? Are you committed to that area? Are you financially solvent? And that kind of weeds out a lot of the garbage. Most people are going to be in some relationship, going to have at least one pet, one kid. So, you know, there's a lot of things. That's why a lot of people are attracted to this life if they're single, if they're empty nesters, if they're retirees, because this nomadic life, or even being a renter or not owning anything is kind of like for someone who is not in a relationship, doesn't have pets or kids. So that's something to think about too, that the benefit to a person that is not raising children, not in some type of family structure is that, you know, you don't really need a house. It could be a benefit, but you got to be very careful. So I hope that me talking this out helps you, because it's good to talk it out. It's good to look at that cozy space. Just look at that. But look at me sweating too. But hey, guys, I'm going to go in the store right now, and they're going to pay for the air conditioning. They're going to maintain it. And I'm going to walk in. I'm going to walk out. I'm non-committed. And does that make me inspired? For some odd reason, it does. And I'm not saying it's for everyone. And I'm not saying I won't buy a piece of property tomorrow. But I still like to talk this out. I like to make a video and share a perspective, a way of life that has been fun for me. It's been unique. So everyone else will have to figure out, is owning a house right for them? And that is something that is one of the biggest decisions, one of the biggest costs in your life. And so, but again, there's no exact science. You certainly don't have to. There's certainly other ways, but for most people, it probably will benefit them, but they have to really give it some thought. So the house is a blessing, not a burden. And hopefully this video helped. If it did, click that thumbs up. You want to support the channel, click that blue join button. Check out my playlist, which has thousands of free videos. And I go live every night. Keep pushing forward, self-care. Find where you want to live below your means. Keep it simple. And thank you again for watching. Peace.